What is a typical process like of going to small claims court? All right, now different parts of the world have different terms for small claims court, but a small claims court is where you have legal goals that are much smaller than your typical court case. And so instead of going to a jury, you're going to choose a simpler process. So in my area in Iowa, these are for lawsuits that have less than $6,500 at stake, and that's low. I hope that Iowa legislators raise that price, considering how much inflation has affected things, because it's common for legal disputes to exceed that amount nowadays. But in the small claims process, it is acceptable and expected in many cases that you do not need an attorney to represent yourself. Now, my general rule of thumb is if the other party has an attorney, you should as well. But just for example, in 2023, when someone asked me to go to small claims court for them, it was a $2,000 fee. And so if you're going to small claims to collect a $6,000 judgment, you might win, you might lose, but you're going to pay me $2,000. And that means your best case scenario is that you're getting $4,000. And your worst case scenario is you're getting zero and you're paying me my $2,000. And so just heads up, that's what it's like. But what you do is you usually, at least in areas that I've seen, is you file your court case online. And there are services that will make it easier for you to do the paperwork. And I've dealt with people who have done the paperwork in pencil. They printed out the form, they wrote on it, in ink or pencil, and then they uploaded it to the court and they took a picture of it, and it really is that simple. I've seen people where the person obviously had very poor English writing skills, and they wrote in really big words, and they had to attach note pages to their document. But the judges, they don't care. They're going to do their best, because the judges have the expectation that people are representing themselves and are not very legally savvy. And so that you'll find that these courts, they do give the participants in the hearing a lot of help. They will not give legal advice because only attorneys are allowed to give legal advice, but they will say, here's how to file this form. They won't tell you how to fill out the form because, unfortunately, that is legal advice. Here's what you do with the form after you fill it out. Read the instructions in the form, fill it out, and then you come over here and you do this with it. Usually, you do not want to do this the day of the hearing. Usually you want to do it in advance. So if you've received a lawsuit and you've been called to appear in small claims court, then don't wait. Treat it like it's a real thing and go and take care of it. But if you need to go down to the courthouse, there's usually people there that will help you. Then what happens is you show up to the court. There's a clerk's desk. The clerk will check people in. So in my county, where I've got the most experience in small claims court, the clerk usually has all of the pages for today's hearing, and I've seen hundreds in one day before. I don't know how they do it, but they have them all laid out. When someone checks in, they highlight so that they know someone's there. And then when it's your time, you get called to go into the courtroom. And so the judge will tell you, or the clerk will tell you which side to sit on. And so the one starting the case in the U.S. goes to the right, and the one who is responding to the case goes to the left. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to listen to the instructions. I want you to dress as nicely as you can. And then I want you to be as polite as you can. And so if the judge asks you to talk, talk. And if the judge has not asked you to talk, don't talk. If you feel like you must, raise your hand to get the judge's attention. The judges that I've seen in these courts tend to be very, very polite and understanding. They're not too stuck on formalities, but don't make the judge angry. Okay? Treat the judge with a great level of respect. When the judge comes in the room, stand up. When they sit down, they'll say, sit down, and you can sit down. Treat them with respect. This person has a lot of authority and a lot of experience. So the costs for doing small claims court tend to be way lower than regular court cases. It might cost you $2,000 in court fees to file a regular court case. In my area in Iowa, it's $95 to start a small claims court. And so you'll see some people who maybe they have a $10,000 dispute, but they'll just knock it down to $6,500 because it makes it easier for them to do the case, and they can do it in small claims. So that's generally what the process is. Now, I will tell you there is one special thing that happens very commonly. And because you have unsophisticated individuals, who don't have a lot of legal experience, sometimes people will not show up in court. Now, some cases, that means they instantly lose. In other cases, that means they lose, but not instantly, because the court does understand that these are unsophisticated legal people, and so they will give them a certain period of time to explain why they missed court. And then that they might allow that person to reopen the case and schedule another hearing. Also, too, if you're the person initiating a case, then you have a responsibility to make sure the person who you're going after gets notified. The court will not put up with you not giving them notice. And there are going to be very specific rules, which are usually on the court forms. If you have questions, share them. I love answering your questions. And if you like watching these videos, make sure to hit the subscribe or follow button. It's been nice talking to you, and we'll see you soon.